Hey guys, Harry Thomas here, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to part one of the sixth official Q&A on my channel. Now, I had more questions than I have ever received before. So many questions, I just couldn't answer them all in just one video. Trust me. And this Q&A, if it was in one video, it would be over an hour long, maybe an hour and 30 minutes. And but so I've made the decision to do my Q&A in parts. So this is part one of my answers to your questions. And I I may uh, it may turn out to be three parts, but fingers crossed I will be able to answer all your questions in just two parts. So uh, so yeah, thank you all ever so much for your awesome questions, and I have them right here for part one of the Q&A. I shall answer them as honestly and as best I can. So let's not waste an instant. You've waited patiently for my answers. Here they are. So, what are my thoughts on Vampirana? I'm sorry, I wasn't even aware of Vampirana, and it sounds like a horror movie or TV show or video game about a vampire combined with a piranha, which makes sense as both vampires and piranhas have blood in their diets. I may look that up, but for now I have no thoughts on it because I wasn't aware of it. So and first movie I'll watch it in theaters after quarantine. Most likely the Mulan remake, to get my extreme rants on that remake over with. Do you like Juno? Yep, Juno from 2007. Absolute masterpiece. One of the gems of that year. And Ellen Page, she gives one of her most electrifying performances as Juno. Do I hate the Pete's Dragon remake? Well, duh. If you know my relationship with Disney live action remakes, you already know the answer to that. But yeah, I once passed off the Pete's Dragon remake as okay-ish, but on rewatch, I freaking hate it. It's it I have no clue why people prefer that remake over the original Pete's Dragon. The original Pete's Dragon, at least, well, had a heart. Sure, my thoughts on the Jungle Book remake. Sure, my thoughts on the Jungle Book remake have gone down now, but at least that remake was more justifiable than the Pete's Dragon one. Do I like Cloud Atlas? Nah, that movie's just meh to me. I barely remember it. So, The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. As epic as The Lord of the Rings is, I'd have to give the edge to Harry Potter overall, as Harry Potter was the first major fantasy universe that I got absorbed into from age 6 back in 2001, and that was before I was even aware there were books of Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. So I grew up with the movies first thing, and the Fantastic Beasts movies are the greatest prequels ever made for me. They were more justified prequels than the Hobbit trilogy. And do I like Shawshank Redemption? Nah, not exactly. I think that's the most overrated movie of 1994. People think that movie should have won Best Picture instead of Forrest Gump. I would well, I say Lion King should have won Best Picture that year. Lion King, for me, kicks the shit out of Shawshank Redemption. And favourites Nick show besides SpongeBob and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Maybe Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah, I mean that theme song, Odd Parents, Fairly Odd Parents, and Wanda and Cosmo. Oh, it made me wish I had fairy godparents to just, as you know, they are literally the equivalent of your personal genie. They give you unlimited wishes. Thoughts on a Unikissy the show, if you've seen it? I'm afraid I have never seen it, so I can't comment on it just yet. But are you talking about a show based on Unikissy from Lego Movie, or an entirely different franchise? Thoughts on Drake and Josh? Drake and Josh sucks ass. Sorry, it's one of Nickelodeon's worst shows. Period. Which is better? Norm of the North or Arctic Dogs? Well, both are black eyes in animation, but at least Arctic Dogs, even though that movie still deserves an extreme rant, at least it's not as nonsensical and infuriating. A least favourite PS4 game of the ones you played? Well, thankfully I have still yet to play a bad PS4 game, but my least favourite of the ones I played overall would be, well, Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, I'm sad to say. I mean, that game is made redundant now with the release of Lego Star Wars all 9 episodes this year. That game lacked a sense of finality and completion with just the playing through The Force Awakens and the final battle of Return the Jedi. It felt like a game that was just rushed out for cash. Will I ever review anime? Will I ever review anime? Maybe not anytime sooner, but for the future, 100% I will get my thoughts out there on Pokemon, Digimon, and Dragon Ball Z, you name it. And favourite food to begin a series? I would say pizza, because nothing beats the taste of pizza on a TV show marathon. It instantly makes you feel good. And thoughts on the Matrix 4 happening? Jack Benner asks. I don't think a Matrix 4 needs to happen whatsoever. I mean, it should just be left as a trilogy. I mean, Hollywood just can't leave things as trilogies anymore. They say, nah, trilogies are a thing of the past. We cinematic universes need to be all arranged when they don't. And have I seen The Hurt Locker, Wanted, and There Will Be Blood? I have seen The Hurt Locker, and The Hurt Locker is one hell of a masterpiece, directed by Catherine Bigelow, the former wife of James Cameron. She's just as extraordinary a filmmaker as he is, and she well deserved the Best Director Oscar for Hurt Locker. And Best Picture also. Wanted and There Will Be Blood, I have still yet to see. Favourite parts of YouTube? My favourite parts of YouTube is not just sharing my thoughts and views on movies with others, but also meeting new friends and buddies on here, and just being able to chat with all of you. You guys are the best of the best of the best. Ryan O'Toole asks, why do I think Breaking Bad is overrated? I haven't forgotten. Oh, sorry, Ryan, but that's awesome if Breaking Bad is one of your fave shows. There's a slim chance of finding somebody that calls it overrated like myself. But for me, aside from Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad is just it lacks other memorable characters, and I think it overran it, and it just, aside from Bryan Cranston, I remember nothing about it. Personally, was strengths of my channel. Well, the the strength and what makes me stand out from other movie review channels. Well, I would say my drawings. I have seen no other movie reviewing channel express their thoughts on a movie through drawings and artwork. So that's why I do them, to help me stand out. And thoughts on the Tenant trailer. Oh yeah, Tenant is this year's Christopher Nolan movie. Well, Tenant looks particularly intriguing. It looks like Inception Part 2. I mean, Dunkirk was his previous movie. That was Christopher Nolan's attempt at a war movie. But this movie, Tenant looks like it's going back to the formula of Inception, one of Christopher Nolan's thought-provoking movies. And they are some of his best, from Inception to Interstellar. So we'll see. Maybe Tenant could be tied with those movies as one of his finest. Flaws or Onward, I can't pick. They're both equal in quality, and both warmed my heart. So, favourite place in the UK? Oh, London. London has all other attractions and places in the UK beats. And my favourite food and drink. I think my favourite food would be strawberries. Yeah, strawberries are just my all-time favourite fruit, and fruit is what we should be having every single day. And my favourite drink would be a cup of tea, because I'm British. And how many countries have I visited outside the UK? I visited Portugal, even though I was only like 2 at the time, so I remember nothing about it. I visited France, Italy, and of course the US, Florida. So 4 foreigner countries outside the UK. And weirdest experience in a movie theatre. Well, I would have to say my movie experience for Frozen 2. There were literally this little girl. She was wearing an Elsa dress, and she was singing outside the screen, "Let it go," because she may have thought that song would have been in the sequel. But everybody had to wait outside the screening for Frozen 2 for some reason. I guess because the ushers were still cleaning up the popcorn from the floor, and there was this other little girl sat right next to me and my family, and she was like screaming, "I have ice powers like Elsa, I'm gonna run up and down the corridors." Her parents did not care. They just let the kids in that theatre just run riot and disrupt everybody. So yeah, that was the weirdest movie experience of my entire life. And do I want Tron 3? Nope. Tron is just a tech demo, and that's it. So we don't need any more than 2. Star Wars or the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I would have to say the original Star Wars trilogy, as that was the first major landmark trilogy of cinema that inspired all the other great trilogies we have today. The Lord of the Rings came second. Have I ever played pinball? Nah, not interested, sorry. Jurassic Park or Indiana Jones? I would have to go with Jurassic Park. I mean, because as a kid, dinosaurs were my shit. I wished more than anything to see a living dinosaur in the flesh that wasn't a fossil. And there are more good Jurassic Park movies than there are Indiana Jones movies. Both Jurassic Park movies are leaps and bounds superior to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I am just rolling my eyes at even the thought of an Indiana Jones 5. When will Hollywood learn? My favourite movie director, well, that would be a three-way tie between James Cameron, Peter Jackson, and Patty Jenkins. Yeah, I mean, James Cameron is the greatest visual director on the planet, and Peter Jackson also makes epics, and Peter Jackson has such a awesome biography of what inspired him to make movies, and Patty Jenkins, but she restores the love to a franchise that nobody had any hope for back then, the DCU. Yeah, she hit the nail on the freaking head with Wonder Woman, and yeah, and she shows that women can make epics in Hollywood as well as men. And Reese also asks my thoughts on a female reboot of Pirates of the Caribbean. While I didn't, when I first heard about the reboot, I was like, Disney, you've gone mad. But when I heard they were planning to have a female Jack Sparrow, now that idea I'm more open to. At least it's a different gender for the protagonist. At least it's not going to just be Jack Sparrow all over again. With maybe she'll be Jacqueline Sparrow. We'll see, but I can't wait to see how she is in comparison to Jack as a character. So maybe that reboot. It may be, fingers crossed, that reboot will at least be better than at World's End, the worst Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And the Disney or Pixar, Disney, sorry Pixar, you may have Toy Story, but Disney has the king of animation, the Lion King. And cats or dogs? Cats. I mean, me and my family have always been cat lovers anyway, and I have two kitties myself, Elfie and Merlin. You can see why cats have overtaken dogs as the most favoured pet in the UK, because they are the best company, and they are far easier to look after than dogs. And movies I hate but used to love. Well, I once loved the Jungle Book remake, but now not so much. Movies I love but used to hate. Well, I used to hate Pirates of the Caribbean, believe it or not. I didn't get the hype, but now after I watched Curse of the Black Pearl, I did fall in love with that one. So yeah, at least I can say Pirates of the Caribbean, when I gave it a try, it was better than I predicted. Do I plan to have kids? Someday, maybe in either my late 20s or when I'm 30, after I've married, of course. And I predict I may have a daughter someday, and if I do have a daughter, I would call her Patricia, and I think that's a lovely name. And also, I may have either one or two kids, because my family has generally always had two kids, generation after generation. So only time will tell. That's still far, far into the future. Top three superheroes: Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, and Batman. My favourite place I have visited. My favourite place that I visited would be Florida, and Disney World in Florida and Universal Orlando. Yeah, Florida was the greatest holiday or vacation of my entire existence. And it was also the best celebration of my 18th birthday back in 2013 that I could ever ask for. And best movie of 2020 currently, Birds of Prey. Is that even a question? A best film, a TV or media experience I've ever had. Well, getting to visit Pinewood Studios and do some courses there. My thoughts on the Matrix trilogy. The Matrix is a magnificent trilogy. Well, the Matrix Revelations, the third, is my least favourite, but the first two are worthy of a 5-star rating. And my favourite Kingdom Hearts game. I'm afraid I've never played any of the Kingdom Hearts games, so I've still I have still yet to have any thoughts on that franchise. What filmmakers inspired me? Well, Peter Jackson did inspire me. I mean, the original King Kong was the first movie he ever saw on TV. He was just 9 at the time, and it made him cry so much. And after that, he instantly knew he wanted to make big budget movies like King Kong. You can see why he remade it back in 2005, and his King Kong is still the best King Kong movie of them all. And what career do I want outside of writing movie reviews? Well, directing movies, of course. That's my goal. And have I met any celebrities? Well, I did spot Luke Evans, the actor who played Bard in the Hobbit trilogy at the Olivier Awards back in London, and I also spotted Amber Riley. She was in the TV show Glee. She played Mercedes, and I also spotted Kit Harington, the Game of Thrones star, and also the voice of Eret in the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. My thoughts on streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and Prime Video. I have no idea about Hulu, but Prime I am not so keen on because it's far too costly, and Netflix is the only streaming service worth subscribing to for my money. If I have never had Netflix, I never would have saw Gilmore Girls, and Hockey Guy 1 asks my favourite SpongeBob episode. I would say Ban Geeks overall. I once said Mimic Madness, but nah, Ban Geeks is just it has every single character involved, and that's Sweet Victory just at the end just fucking rocks. And my ranking of the SpongeBob seasons. Well, the first 3 seasons in the Steven Hillenburg era are the best, and Season 4 was decent. That was the final good SpongeBob season, to be honest. Then Season 5 was meh, and Season 7 and 8 were just were unspeakably dumb, and Season 9 was decent, except for Squid Baby and Little Yellow Book, but thankfully the show did pick up again with Season 10. Season 10 is the closest to the quality of the first 3 seasons, with masterpieces like Mimic Madness. Top 5 favourite movies of all time, and will I ever make a favourite movies of all time video? I will make that video maybe later this year, as you do have a point. I'm a movie review channel, and where the heck is that video? And also, as for my top 5 favourite movies of all time, well, my favourite Disney movie would be The Lion King, and my favourite DreamWorks movie would be How to Train Your Dragon 3: The Hidden World, favourite DCU movie, Wonder Woman, and favourite Harry Potter movie, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, and my favourite Pixar movie, Monsters Inc. Yeah, those 5 are, for me, the the unbeatable movies, and my favourite Star Wars character from the original trilogy. As much as I love Leia, Darth Vader, and Han and Chewie and 3PO and R2, I'd have to say Luke Skywalker, because when you think of iconic cinematic heroes, Luke is the first that comes to mind. Just Luke staring out at the twin sunsets on Tatooine. That is the best shot of the original trilogy for me. And Luke's journey, it was paced correctly. He took time to become the badass Jedi. He lost his first fight with Vader, and didn't become the Jedi he was destined to be until Return of the Jedi. That is how you do a character arc for a protagonist in a trilogy. And Riley asks, why do I love girl power movies? Love that one. Well, I adore and support girl power movies, well, because I'm sick of them getting so much hate. They don't deserve it. I mean, I just want equality for women and men in film, and feminists are in the right for wanting stronger women in movies and media, because I still think there's a lack of female protagonists in movies today in comparison to male, and there's still a lack of female filmmakers in comparison to male, and I have been called a male hater and SJW just for loving girl power movies so much and calling them the best movies of the years they came out. Well, I am not. I am just saying that girl power movies are equal to male-led movies, and if I ruled this world, there would be no discrimination because of your gender, race, or sexuality. There would be nothing but universal equality and peace for everybody. Brad asks, when will I review Chocolate Orange? I will get to that, buddy. Thank you so much for being patient. And how would I rate The Lion King 1994? Oh, well, 5 stars. You don't even need to ask. As if I haven't raved about that movie on my channel enough. And if you want to know my rating, just check out my review on my Disney reviews playlists. Messer Jacket. What are my thoughts on Messer Jacket and Assassin's Creed, and will I review them? Most likely won't review them for another year or two, as I need to purchase the games first. And will I rant on Kaleo? Well, I can't promise a rant because I've still yet to see it for myself. And do I like Bruce Lee and Freddie Mercury? Yeah, not the biggest fan of Bruce Lee, but Freddie Mercury is a musical legend. And will I review Predator 1987? You bet. In fact, I will cover the entire Predator series. And my favourite music, asks Action Girl. Well, my favourite music would be rock, because rock just rocks. We built this city on rock and roll. And my favourite female singer / band, my favourite female singers would be a tie between Lana Del Rey and Taylor Swift. They are queens. And my favourite female band would either be Girls Aloud or The Saturdays. And my favourite male singer / band, my favourite male singer would be Ed Sheeran, and my favourite male band would be Queen. And my favourite movie snack, popcorn. That was an inevitable answer. I mean, there isn't a single movie fan that doesn't get popcorn before a movie. And my thoughts on Child's Play, still yet to see it, so I can't answer that. My favourite Pixar short movie, I would say For the Birds, the short before Monsters Inc. Well, I may be biased there because Monsters Inc. is my favourite, but For the Birds just cracks me up. And a Joker or Logan. As masterful as Joker was, I'd have to say Logan, as Logan at least had a slightly happier ending. Sure, Logan was still killed off, but at least his daughter, Lara, she will carry on his legacy and train the new generation of X-Men, so there's still hope there. And my least favourite movie, The Lesser King, or that shitty Lion King remake from 2019 that never should have been made. And my favourite scene from my favourite movie, the Circle of Life from Lion King. And my least favourite scene from my least favourite movie, Simba's hair travelling in giraffe dung to reach Rafiki in The Lesser King. And my favourite TV show. Oh, well, I'm tempted to say Gilmore Girls, but to be honest, Gilmore Girls did go downhill in season 7, but Race to the Edge, the How to Train Your Dragon show, would be the only show that has stayed consistently awesome throughout its 6 seasons, so I go with Race to the Edge. And my favourite and least favourite Adam Sandler movie, I'm sorry, but I don't have a single favourite Adam Sandler movie. I think none of his movies are good. Well, or actually, no, scratch that, except for Just Go With It. That's the one decent one. But so my least favourite Adam Sandler movie would be Grown Ups 2. Oh my god. That one is a disgusting pile of shiz. My favourite and least favourite Will Ferrell movie. Favourite Will Ferrell movie, is it that obvious? Elf. And my least favourite Will Ferrell movie would be Land of the Lost. The longer that shit stays lost, the better. And my favourite and least favourite Jack Black movie. Favourite Jack Black movie would be, even though Jack Black isn't the primary star of it, it would be Peter Jackson's King Kong. But if you're talking about my favourite Jack Black movie where he's the star, it would be a tie between Kung Fu Panda 3 and Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny. Least favourite Jack Black movie was be Year One. And my thoughts on Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is a joke. Enough says. And but my thoughts on the Bob's Burger movie. I had no idea that movie even existed, so I can't say what my thoughts are on it just yet. And Lambo also asked, would I agree Boss Baby is the worst DreamWorks movie? Infinity%, buddy. And my favourite show from my childhood, SpongeBob, right off the bat. And the first movie I ever saw in cinemas, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I was lucky I got into that movie because that movie was rated PG and I was only 6 when I saw it. And my thoughts on the show Solar Opposites. I'm afraid I have no thoughts as I have not seen it currently. And now, Marvel Fan asks my top 10 favourite movies of 2014 aside from How to Train Your Dragon 2. Okay, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Gone Girl and Nightcrawler and the Lego Movie, X-Men Days of Future Past, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Interstellar, The Other Woman, and The In-Betweeners movie 2. I know you're thinking, why isn't The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies on my list, given that I am such a Middle-earth fanboy? Well, Battle of the Five Armies is my least favourite of the Hobbit trilogy, but it's still a serviceable finale. And my and girl power movies I don't like. The only one I don't like would be the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot. That one was just, well, was just disrespecting the original movie, and barely had any girl power to it. And My favourite year for movies, I would say 2005, as I turned 10 that year and I had more cinema trips that year than ever, and that was the year I confirmed what I wanted to do with my life, to make movies. And sequels I want to happen aside from Frozen 3, Incredibles 3, Great Mouse Detective 2, and Rescuers 3. And My top 10 animated movies, well, The Lion King, How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, How to Train Your Dragon 2, the first How to Train Your Dragon, and Monsters Inc., Toy Story 2, Prince of Egypt and Spirit Stallion at the Cimarron, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbits, and the most controversial opinions on my channel, my hatred for Deadpool 2 for one thing, and also Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald being the best Wizarding World movie, and Captain Marvel being the best MCU movie, and Wreck-It Ralph being the worst movie of the Disney revival age, and my thoughts on the recent Kids' Choice Awards. They were a total letdown. How could they not nominate How to Train Your Dragon 3 for anything? Seriously. And also, how would I rank the 7 major animation studios from Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Sony, Blue Sky, Warner Brothers, and Illumination? Sony are the worst, because Sony made the Emoji Movie, and Illumination would be the second worst, and Blue Sky are also towards the bottom, as Ice Age and the Peanuts movie, the only great movies they've ever made. Oh, and with the exception of Rio, and Warner Brothers, as they made the Lego movies, and Pixar, as they revolutionised CGI animation with Toy Story. And sorry, Pixar fans, but I unpopularly rank DreamWorks over Pixar, because DreamWorks has How to Train Your Dragon for one thing, and DreamWorks have at least made some 2D animated movies. Pixar have made none, and Disney would be number one. Without Disney, we'd have no animation today. Celebrity crush, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She is unspeakably stunning. And why do I prefer DC to Marvel? Marvel for me is a little overcrowded with superheroes, whereas DC has less, so I can pick and recognize the DC heroes individually far easier than I can with the Marvel ones. And my top 5 favourite Frozen 2 moments, number 1 would be Elsa crossing the ocean on the Nuka to Usahullen. Number 2 would be Into the Unknown. Number 3 would be Show Yourself. Number 4 would be All Is Found. And number 5 would be The Next Right Thing. My top 5 favourite How to Train Your Dragon 3 The Hidden World moments. Finally somebody has asked me, and I shall answer with pleasure. Number 5 would be Grimmel coming into Hiccup's house. Number 4 would be the final Armada battle. Number 3 would be the Light Fury and Toothless's first date, when he draws her. Number 2 would be the Hidden World scene, and number 1 would be the ending in general, the emotional goodbye, the wedding, and Hiccup and Toothless reuniting. I'm sorry, but there is no sadder ending to movies than that. and movies I have seen from 2009 that I have still yet to review. I've still yet to review Wonder Parks and Arctic Dogs and Shaun the Sheep 2, for one thing. And my favourite space movie that is not Star Wars, Avatar. You thought Star Wars pushed the boundaries of technology, then Avatar expounded on the boundaries of technology even more. So that's part one of my 6th Q&A. Stay tuned for part 2 to find out more of my answers to your awesome questions. I'll see you then. Bye, guys.